Hey up! Back again, are we? Well, I ain't complaining. Sit yourself down. Here, you look a bit vexed. Who put a bee in your bonnet? Ah, a client, eh? Getting on your wick, are they? Oh, I see how it is. You're getting a bit involved. Too involved, maybe. Getting a bit personal. Hmm. Ah, ah. Well, I'm sure you can handle it. But take it from me, you're dancing a fine line. How special, I presume? Well, goes without saying by now, doesn't it? There you go. That'll keep you steady. Hmm. Used to be a lass who came in. Lovely gal. Rhiannon her name. We all called her Riri. Had a kind soul. Never a bad word to say about anyone. And likewise, no one had a bad word to say about her. She always saw the good, you know. Despite being a busy young professional, she still had time for others. Most of her days off and weekends, in fact, were devoted to a local outreach charity programme called Loaves and Fishes, run by St Mark's just up the road. They work with the homeless, you know, trying to get them back on their feet, running workshops, helping them apply for housing and benefits, etc. Every Thursday evening they'd open up a soup kitchen in the church hall. There were usually quite a turnout. You probably ain't failed to notice there are many hard up on the streets out there. Now, as you can imagine, after doing that kind of work for a while, you're going to get to know them who turn up quite well. No surprise then, Riri ended up becoming good friends with four in particular. They were close to her age, see, give or take a few years. Found her easier to get on with than the other volunteers, who were generally older and a bit more stuffy. She was more on their level. If memory serves, the names were Viv, Bernice, Paul and Omar. She called them a Fab Four. Nice kids. Brought them in here on occasion. I remember them always being grateful, always polite, despite the circumstances. But kind of sheepish with it. You know, a bit unsure of themselves. Understandable, all things considered. Of course, Riri's fraternisations were somewhat frowned upon by them who managed the programme. Keep your distance, they'd say. Don't do more than what's required. Maintain an healthy barrier. But Riri weren't having any of it. Saw a lot of herself in them kids. Couldn't help but dwell on the thought that if it weren't for fate choosing otherwise, that could be her. She kinda saw it as her duty to see him all right. Here, you wanting a top up? Thought so. Practically paying for our Christmas do, you are. There you are. Sorry, bit of an head on that one. Maybe let it settle. Either that or I can get you a flake. Can't get the staff these days. Too bloody right. Hey, how long you been standing there? About 5 minutes. Why? Dunno. Bored. Gonna go down shops. Wanting anything? I'm alright actually. No, wait. Can you pick me up the latest copy of White Dwarf? Alright. Take it out of the petty cash. Nice one. What? I like the pictures. Anyway, one Friday last April, 25th, if I remember right. I'm setting up the PA system for open mic night. Turns to grab one of the leads. Standing at the bar is Riri. Looked white as a sheet. Her eyes slightly glazed. "Here," I says. "You alright? You look bleached. Anyone would think you'd seen a ghost." Her reply were unexpected. How can we be ghosts if we still walk amongst the living? We. That one word. It had a foreboding resonance. Curious, I asked her what had happened. The night previous, she'd been asked to run the Loaves and Fishes soup night. Graham, the programme coordinator, had come down with a nasty bout of the shits, and he'd requested that Riri run it in his place. Sod's law, it weren't to prove as straightforward as it normally would. See, it was the eve of St. Mark, and the Reverend had decided to put on a special service, what with St. Mark being the church's patron, which meant the church hall would be otherwise occupied. Riri, not taking no for an answer when Loaves and Fishes were concerned, set about looking for an alternative location for that evening. At quite short notice, she'd managed to get hold of the community centre. Apparently the Women's Institute meeting had pulled out. A disagreement over how to bake a Victoria sponge or something. However, this meant she'd have to transfer all the stuff she needed for the soup kitchen from the church hall to the community centre and back again later on. Good job she had a Fab Four at hand to help out. As was to be expected of Riri, the evening went out without an hitch. She dropped the stuff off back at the church hall, locked up, and went home. Quite knackered, she went straight to bed. But as it would transpire, a peaceful night's sleep weren't on the cards. At around 12 a.m. she was woken by the sound of her phone blaring. It was one of her work colleagues. She'd been working the twilight shift and had passed St. Mark's on her way home. To her surprise, she'd witnessed a procession of people through the churchyard, then through the front entrance. Intrigued, she'd called Riri to see what were occurring. Well, this sent Riri into a bit of a mad panic. Worried beyond reason that she'd not locked up properly, she got in her car and sped back down to the church. When she arrived, contrary to what her mate had said, she found all was quiet, not a soul in sight. Didn't stop her from checking every entrance though, starting with the rear and finishing with the front. Satisfied the building was secure, she turned to leave. That's when she saw him. 5 figures, walking single file through the churchyard. She recognised them straight away, all except one. At the head of the group were Viv, followed by Bernice, Paul, and Omar. At the back were the stranger. She called out to him, "What you all doing out at this hour? It's nearly 1. Somewhat concerned that they'd lose their rooms at the shelter that imposed a 12 o'clock curfew. But as they got near her, she realised there was something not quite right, a bit off. They seemed to not so much walk as drift. The features were gaunt, ashen, blotched with bruises and great welts. Ignoring her completely, they made straight for the church entrance. And to Riri's horror, one by one, passed right through her. All except the stranger, who paused. It was then realisation dawned. The 5th figure, it were her. Goes without saying she didn't catch a wink of sleep that night. The images of what she'd seen fresh in her mind. Later she tried to rationalise it. She was stressed, she was exhausted. But I don't think even she believed that. What she'd experienced haunted her up to her dying day. It was New Year's Day when we got the news of her death. She'd been involved in a collision with a lorry whilst taking the Fab Four to a New Year's Eve party that Loaves and Fishers had put on. By the time the ambulance arrived, they were all dead. Some say if you wait on the steps of a church porch between the hours of 11 p.m. and 1 a.m. on St. Mark's Eve, you'll see the souls of those fated to die in the coming year. Was that what Riri saw? A dire portent of things to come? Guess we'll never know. But in regards to your particular predicament, I'd keep things strictly business. Maintain an healthy barrier. You having another? Got to get going. No either. You have a good night now. Remember, you know where I am should you need out. Just give that there bell a little tinkle. I'll be seeing you. Have a good 'un.